Nick speaking, and welcome to this video, Eldar Learning Curve, and in this video we're looking at the Farseer, the first of the HQ choices. I say the first, it's the first one I'm looking at, and the main reason for that is that the Farseer has the most impact on your army. So all of the units that we've talked about so far, all of their abilities that they have can be enhanced by this one model. And that is going to be key for basically our outdated codex. I mean, it's always been key for Eldar anyway, but it's even more important nowadays. So potentially so important that you're going to want probably 2 of these in your army. Now, I don't want to discount all the other HQ choices by just filling up your HQ slots with Farseers, but if you want to be competitive, then I suppose arguably 2 Farseers is the way to go. We are going to look at the other options. There are some good options like the Autarch and Avatar and some of the Phoenix Lords, but we're going to start at the Farseer. So first up, from the model point of view, I have this mini here. This is a cool mini or not. I've got it magnetised, so I can have it on foot, or I've got one of my jet bikes here, so I can have it on a jet bike like so. So the main reason you put it on a jet bike is if you're going to have it either with a jet bike squad, obviously, or as a Seer Council. In other words, you're going to have like a little unit of warlocks, which you can take once you take a Farseer, it unlocks them. But we'll look at this Seer Council in a later video. Let's just take her off of there. Okay, so what will you need when you're using this mini? I'll tell you what you'll need is you will need some form of marker for the psychic powers. So these are my markers. I've just made up these little cards here. Now I do plan to actually make a model for the markers, but these do the job quite nicely, and I would really suggest that you make something like this, or if you want these, if you email me, I can send these markers to you, that's not a problem. Now if you're going to have 2 Farseers, or even Aldrad, which is potentially a Farseer who has 3 psychic powers, we'll cover Aldrad in a separate video. You're going to want these markers. You're going to want to remember, what you've guided, what you've doomed, and what you've fortuned. And that's why I've got those 3 markers. They're going to be the main psychic powers that you're going to need. Now, how about swapping out your powers? I would say yes, it works well, but it only works well in my experience if you have more than 1 Farseer, because as stock powers go, Guide, Fortune and Doom are fantastic. They match the army so well. And we talked about Howling Banshees and Fire Dragons and all the other units. Imagine your Dire Avengers shooting at a squad that are doomed. Re-roll all those wounds? Fantastic. Imagine Fire Dragons that have been guided. They can hit on 3s and they can re-roll. How about that? Fantastic. And then imagine your Harlequins with their Stealth and Shrouded special rule, and then the Fortuned. So get the idea. The stock powers are really good, but if you have 2 Farseers, then I would say yes, definitely swap out one power for, well, not 1 power, but 1 Farseer's powers for the divination chart, because if you can get invisibility, that can make your units very powerful indeed. As for the other stuff, the other powers, Eldritch Storm, probably just isn't really worth it in my opinion. Mind War, well, until the recent FAQ came out, which basically said that your enemy can have a lookout sir, which totally defeats the object of using it, because you can no longer target things out, because they get their 2+ lookout sir, or at the very worst a 4+ lookout sir. I don't know, for 20 points I'd probably say just leave that at home really. So yeah, Guide, Doom and Fortune is what you're going to be after. You'll also want to take at least 1 Runes of Warding, fantastic anti-psychic power. So basically your enemy has to roll 1 extra d6 regardless where they are on the table for their psychic powers, which is fantastic. And then Runes of Witnessing, you're probably going to want to take that as well, because that gives you 1 extra dice to take your tests, and then you just drop the highest. so you're almost guaranteed to pass. So yes, I would say Runes of Warding, Runes of Witnessing, at least on one model. Now, I'm talking about taking all of these things on your Farseer. The potential is that once you start taking all this, the points may add up to a considerable amount, possibly just below Eldrad's points. Now, Eldrad, which again we'll talk in a separate video about Eldrad, but that is something to bear in mind. Once you put all of those points into here, you might possibly be just better off taking an Eldrad. And the only thing really that Eldrad can't do that this Farseer can is ride a jet bike. So that is worth considering. I'm talking about taking 2 Farseers. I think in an ideal world, especially the points that we're paying for all of our units anyway, is to have one Farseer or Eldrad in sort of the pimped up mode, and then probably have the other one in just a real dumbed down version, maybe just with a fortune or with a guide or with a doom, depending on which unit you're putting them into. That's then for you to decide how you want to use your Farseers, whether you want to guide your War Walkers, whether you want to have doom for your Dire Avengers, etc, etc. The other thing to bear in mind here as well, which is a really good thing, it has a Ghost Helm, which is free, and that stops Perils of the Warp attack on a 3+. So it doesn't just give you a save or anything, it actually stops Perils of the Warp. So you have to remember that, because that's very useful. Witchblade or Spear, I mean, that's up to you again. I mean, you're not going to get this in close combat anyway, so, well, not if you can help it. So maybe a Spear, but either choice is okay. And that's it really. I don't think there's much else to say. We are going to cover some of the Farseer attributes in the next video as well with Eldrad. So yeah, watch the next video, and thanks for watching.